Good morning, my loves. I am back again. It's been a little bit longer than I had envisaged, but I've got a lot going on at the moment, which I will be pretty much showing you a lot of it in this video. We're going to be heading into the garden because I have got some more garlic that needs planting out, and I've got some daffodil bulbs that need to go in, and I think some crocuses as well. And you know, I am beginning to run out of time to do this, so some time in the garden. It is a complete wreck, I have to say. It is wreckage from the house all the way down to the bottom, but I'm willing to show you some bits of the wreckage. And if anything, it might make you feel a bit better about your own gardens if you've got any messy spots in them. My garden is just one complete messy spot, but it is quite productive. There are some things coming up that I look forward to showing you. The other thing that I've been doing is starting to decorate the house. So I'm starting in the front room, which I know is not where you're supposed to start. You're supposed to decorate from top to bottom, but logistically it made more sense, and I won't go into why, but it made more sense for me to start there. So I will show you some of that in just a moment. And basically I'm going to divide the video up into, I think, some garden stuff. I've got some painting and some upcycling of a bookcase to do, which might be like the second bit. And then the third bit, I'm going to sit down with a cup of tea, and I thought we could have a nice little chat just to finish off the video. So if that interests you, then stick around and make sure you have subscribed and hit the notification bell. One thing I am going to say is that I think I've started a new skincare kind of habit, actually, like taking care of my skin, because this kind of bit of spottage was just all over my face. I have very sensitive skin, and I am prone to breakouts and just sort of acne-like nasty lumps under my skin, and it is definitely looking a lot clearer and brighter. And obviously these were the worst areas and they are healing, but yeah, I'm quite pleased with the rest of it. It's starting to look a little bit more supple and fresh and stuff again. So maybe I will share that, my skincare routine, in a video next time. But for now, let's show you, let's call it wreckage one, shall we? Wreckage one. So yeah, this is my living room, and the first thing I want to say is how much I loathe the colour that I'm putting on the walls. It is Wilko oatmeal. There, horrible stuff. It was meant to be, or rather it looks on the label and it looked online to be a sort of pale biscuit colour, pale coffee, milky coffee maybe. And I don't know that it's showing up on camera quite how revolting it is. It has a really sort of pinky undertone, so it looks like human skin. It's fleshy, it's revolting. It looks like I'm wallpapering the room in skin. So, you know, Cannibal would be very, very happy in this room. I hate it, but it was on offer and I just started slapping it on. It's extremely patchy as well. Now, it's patchy underneath this first layer anyway, so I always knew it was going to take probably 2 to 3 coats, but the Wilko's paint is so much thinner than the Johnston's paint that I'm using elsewhere, so I'm not very impressed with it, I have to say. And because the room is very small and I've still got loads of furniture and stuff in here, I'm kind of having to do different things in sections rather than a first coat all the way around and then a second coat all the way around. It's all a bit mixed up and looks absolutely horrific at the moment, but I promise you it will look fine when it's done. It will all come together. So today I've got some further cutting in to do, sort of around here. I've got some cutting in to do over the skirting boards. I've got some second layers going on. I've got some extra paint going on to some bits of the woodwork, which the coverage isn't great. So I've got things like that to do. And then this bookcase over here is going to be painted in like an almondy cream colour. So that's something that I'll be getting on with later on as well. Right, amid this absolute like trash heap of things, I have got some of this garlic to go out. I've already planted quite a bit, but I have some more. It looks like there's some spare cloves there, so that needs to go in. I've got 3 of these daffodils left. There's some crocuses left, so I think they might go in a sort of white themed pot. And then I've got these are all mixed daffodils, and it looks like there's some more white there, some white tulips, and some brightly coloured tulips there. So yeah, I've just got piles and piles of bulbs, and I want to get in basically the nicer stuff, the more interesting ones. And then these that I just bought by the sack load, I'm not too bothered if, you know, they get wasted or they don't all go in, because I've planted hundreds of them already. Right, so this is part of the absolute wreckage that is outside. I have got, so all of these pots along the top here, they all need emptying, and I think what I'm going to do is put a couple of cloves of garlic in all of those, because my garlic that I grew in pots grew really well last year or this year. There's some stuff in here, there's some bulbs in here that are coming up. Look, there's some garlic here that's coming up, there's some onions coming up in that pot. Oh, let me show you over here if I can get to it. Look at the mess, guys, look at the mess. Right, yes, so some garlic in here. There's loads and loads of spring onions that have come up in this tub. There's some leftover bits of rocket in there. This is some garlic kale, of which, so that it looks like that when it's grown, and this is just on a perpetual cycle of kind of self-seeding and coming up. And then there's some more garlic in there as well. So yeah, more garlic in some more tubs. And then I've got, oh look, there's some coming up in there. I've been poking these garlic cloves in all over the place. Yeah, so this pot needs clearing because this has got a, I mean look, where did I just see that? Tiny little tomatoes that are still growing. Madness, isn't it? Absolute madness. Goes to show it's quite warm here up by the house. But yeah, so that needs clearing out. This one needs clearing out as well. Look at that, it's even ripening, would you believe? So yeah, so I might put the daffodil bulbs in these slightly nicer, bigger pots. It's a very pretty cyclamen coming up there. And now we come to what can only be described as wreckage number 2, which is this sorry state of a garden. Absolutely atrocious. Call myself a gardener and it's atrocious. Basically this bed here has still got a few strawberries in it, although I pulled up quite a lot of the strawberries because I think I might have said in an earlier video that I don't like the flavour of these ones. So I cleared them all from the path where they were spilling over, cleared about half of the ones that were here, left a few because, you know, why not? I've pruned back my rosemary quite hard as well. In the bed itself, there's loads and loads of daffodils in there, daffodils and crocuses, and these are all self-sown forget-me-nots. So in springtime, this whole bed should look absolutely beautiful, and the hedging that's now dying back will spring to life in spring as well, so this should look incredibly pretty. So it looks horrific at the moment, but it will look really pretty in springtime. This is, what's it called, pheasant, Himalayan honeysuckle, pheasants something or other. You can actually eat these, but you have to wait until they're kind of black and really ripe, otherwise they taste a bit sharp. But that's huge. I'm leaving it on because the birds will enjoy the berries that are on that, and I'll cut it back a bit later. This bed here, do you know what, it's not looking too bad. I think it's just where there's a lot of fallen leaves and it's making everything look really tatty. There's lots of bulbs that I've planted in here as well, lots of daffodils and tulips, so they should all come up beautifully again in springtime. And then yeah, there's some stuff here that's just dying back, and I've got a really big weeding job to do around this tree. It's just the ivy and all of the brambles and stuff need taking care of. Again, this is just looking really quite rough. There's some herbs and bits and pieces around the front here. There's a stray kale that's survived. There's quite a few chard plants that are doing okay. I've got irises that are going over now. And this is also covered in loads of bulbs as well. So maybe this is not quite as bad as I think. It just looks really rough where everything's shedding its leaves and it's all kind of piling up on top here. Now this is horrific. The pathway is awful because it's just got all of these fallen, rotting apples down it. But if we just pick our way through all of this stuff, these are here because they're going to be planted. Bear with me, I'm not just leaving shoes hanging about in my garden. So you can see here I've got absolutely masses of self-seeded lamb's lettuce, so I will let that get a fraction bigger, so about that sort of size, and then I'm just going to pick it all and eat it as a salad. And let's see what's growing. So there's some winter radishes there, there's a few chard plants left, piles of rubbish where I've been clearing things, and then yeah, there are some interesting bits and pieces here. So nothing's been planted at that end. We've got all of those apples that need clearing away. There's a few cabbage plants, but they're being eaten by something, so I need to investigate that. There's an absolute, I mean, look at this. This is an absolute mass of lamb's lettuce that's kind of everywhere, but particularly around this area. Again, what I will probably do is pick that so that it's in a couple of rows. There's some shallots and onions that are coming up between these rows. There's some claytonia down here, which you can kind of use a bit like spinach. I've got, I mean, look at this nasturtium. I mean, that's surviving somehow in this weather. This is a winter radish, the white one, mooli. I think that's what it says over there. I can't read it through the camera. And then these are turnips, I think, down here. I can't remember which ones. It's probably on the label somewhere. But yeah, so I've got stuff growing, guys. And this is the truth of the thing, isn't it? Well, people don't tell you that actually you don't have to keep everything neat and tidy for stuff to grow. I just need to come out and do a little bit of sorting, investigate what's going on with the cabbages, and yeah, it should be fine, and actually get some stuff planted in that section. And I think we're okay. So yeah, look, I'll give you the nice view of my neighbour's shed cum greenhouse. It's beautiful. I really want one. He built it himself. But yeah, so I think, look, this is I'm gonna get a skip to clear all of this messy stuff that's here. But I think the bit of the garden, sorry, I'm not looking in the right place because I'm looking at what your view is behind me to see if you can actually see anything. Anyway, the bit of the garden that I actually work on, I don't think it needs that much. It probably just needs 2 or 3 hours out here, either all at once or spaced out over the course of a few days, just to get things a little bit tidier, clear some things, get some more of the bulbs out, and it will be absolutely fine. And then all the mess at the bottom that I'm currently looking at, most of that's going to go in a skip. I ordered some more like garden recycling bags from my local council, which have been delivered. So all of the big heaps of garden waste that I've got, some of which are fine because they're composting down, others of which they just need to go because they're full of things like bindweed. And I know that you can compost these things, but my compost bins aren't efficient, so they don't get hot enough to compost that stuff properly. So I'd rather get rid of it out of my garden, because I made the mistake of putting some on the compost heap because people tell you that you can, without realising my compost heap is a load of crap. So I now have a compost heap that's overgrown with bellbine. So just be careful with advice that you get on the internet. It's not always appropriate for you if you don't quite know what you're doing. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty good. We'll do some of the bulb stuff in a minute, and there's, I think, 2 or 3 fairly warm, like 14-degree days coming up in this part of England where I live. So I will make the most of those and get some garden jobs done, I think. So we have a slight change to the order of things, just because the weather is looking very bright and sunny and lovely in about 2 hours time. So I'm going to start with putting the first coat of paint on to this bookcase. I'm going to wipe off the dust from the sanding, which I haven't done yet. I've got some nasty fluorescent sugar soap here. I really do need to find a more environmentally friendly product. In fact, I'm starting to do that with some of the things that I've bought recently. I will tell you more about that when I get my delivery, so probably in the next video I will be showing you some of that stuff. Anyway, for now we've still got the horrible nasty things that are bad for the environment, but I will use those up and then switch to better products. Yes, so wiping the dust off this, getting the first coat of paint on, and I will just, because I do have a tripod, but it's not one that I can put up easily in here. So I will just show you in stages how it's starting to look. So I'll see you in probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Right, so a first rough coat of the cream paint has gone on. I haven't used a primer for the reason that this has already been painted once before and it has been lightly sanded. So I'm thinking, I reckon about 3 to 4 coats of just regular matte paint will be fine on this. And it clearly looks like absolute trash at the moment, because these things always do when you're putting on that first coat. So I will come back. I think it says it's ready for the next coat in 3 to 4 hours. So I'll come back this afternoon and do a second coat on it and see how it's looking then. And my next job, before I go out, you can't really see in here. The light is so terrible. But we're going to be doing some more cutting in, some second coats, and yeah, just bits in here that I might not be able to show you any kind of difference by the end of today, but I know what I'm doing and I know what I've got to get on with. Hello, I'm back, and this is possibly the least flattering angle I could have chosen, but I've got an enormous cup of tea here that I'm making my way through. So it's 11 o'clock, and yeah, so I've done first coat on the bookcase, I've done second coat on 2.5 of the walls, and then I've got first coat to do on the other. No, that doesn't add up right. I can't add up right. There's 4 walls in my house, in my room. Oh my gosh. Right, start again, and I've actually made myself blush. Look at that. I've gone pink. Pink lady. Right, anyway. Oh my goodness. I know what I mean. It's because it's in like little sections that anyway, that doesn't matter. I've basically done half the room has had 2 coats and the other half is waiting for its first coat. So I'm going to move all the furniture to one side of the room to get the other half kind of done. I've got some layers on the woodwork to do as well on one half of the room. So yeah, basically there's still lots to do, and I'll show you after I've done all of that. I'm having my cup of tea. I've had a little snack as well. I had some leftover, like a few forkfuls of a Thai red curry. It's just some leftovers in the fridge, so I have had that, so I'm feeling good. I'm going to drink the rest of my tea, and then we're going to pop outside and plant some bulbs. So you can see in this pot I have somehow ended up with a feverfew plant. So I'll be taking out the chili and keeping the feverfew. I've got all of these pots that have been lined up along the back here.
this, you can see there's 2 or 3 that I've cleared and that I've planted with garlic, but there's all of these ones left that need emptying and replanting. I've got some tulip bulbs, they're going to go in some of these pots at the front here. And now you can see what I've managed to achieve. I've got loads of garlic planted in the pots at the front there. I've tidied up all of these pots along the back, and they've all got bulbs or garlic planted into them now, so that all looks a little bit neater and tidier, and yeah, good to go for next springtime.
Right, let's get up to date with where we are at the moment. So the bookcase over here has had a couple of coats of the cream paint. Everything looks slightly peculiar colour because I've got the overhead light on. These walls here have had 2 coats, but as you can see, still incredibly patchy. Really not impressed with the Wilko's paint at all. This woodwork is kind of finished around here, that's nice and white. I've got to finish my second coat at the top here, and then what I've done is I've moved all my kind of furniture. I'm moving everything over into this part of the room that's had the 2 coats, and then I'm going to be going around these walls and getting a couple of coats on those as well. There's extra coats needed. The woodwork on this side of the room needs an extra coat as well, so we're doing all of that. So maybe next time I see you, all of the painting should be done, and I should be at the point where I'm dressing the rooms. So I will, hopefully be able to show you some of that. The one thing that I will say is none of this is to my taste. A lot of these hideous things in here, like the electric fire and this bit of fake marble panel, just none of it is to my taste or to our taste. What we're really concentrating on doing though is just freshening up the rooms ready to sell. But anyway, we'll have a chat about that in just a moment. We're here with a cup of tea and it's the next day because I got caught up doing even more kind of coats of paint than I had planned. And I'm not going to show you any more of the room until the next video because it should all get done in the next 2 to 3 days, I think. Should be moving back, so this sofa that's just in the middle of my dining room. Oh, and also the strimmer and various other things that have all somehow ended up in this dining room. We won't talk about how or why, but anyway, we should be moved back into the living room, I think on Sunday. What is it now? It's Thursday today. Should be back in there on Sunday, and there's a couple of bits that I want to buy towards sort of dressing the room. And then I'll show you that update, and then all I've got left to do is to kind of dress the room really, and add accessories and things like that. What I've done is, so I hate the colour. I don't like the colour. Now that it's dried, it's a lot lighter, but it's still got such a pinky undertone to it. It looks a little bit like calamine lotion. Not quite, but it's heading in that direction. Or just a very light coloured elastoplast or something like that. I still hate it. But I have been on Pinterest and found some inspiration for a slightly more of a, I was going to go for quite a modern farmhouse look because I think that would, a neutral obviously because it's for selling. I was going to go for that, but now I think I'm going to go for a slightly more earthy toned boho style ish. I will see if I remember as I'm editing me. Insert some pictures somewhere please of the things that you found on Pinterest. That would be really helpful, just to show you guys the kind of thing that I mean. So yes, at some point you will see it hopefully looking fairly finished. Then I'm going to have a couple of weeks off from decorating and just concentrate on some business stuff. And I also want to really concentrate on building up my other income streams, which I've neglected for 2 whole years. I haven't really done anything with them, and I get kind of trickles of money, or money trickling in from them. And what I'd really like to do is to work on those and get them to the point where they become my core income,
and my jewellery shop becomes almost like a supplementary income for fun, just because I don't enjoy the reselling work as much as I enjoy the other work that I do, but I haven't really done very much of lately. But yeah, so there's some business stuff that I want to concentrate on for a couple of weeks after I finish that room, and then I'm closing my online shops partway through December, probably around the 14th, and that will then give me a good sort of clear week before Christmas madness starts to get the majority of this room done. And because I'll be working at it solidly, it means that it should get done a lot quicker than that one. So that's where we're at with those things. So yes, next time you see me, there'll be more stuff in the garden, more stuff in the home. I'm actually thinking I'm going to change the name of the channel, I think. I think it's going to be Sparrows End Home and Garden, because basically that's what I'm going to be doing on this account, and that's what's going to be in my videos, is just stuff to do with home and garden. So with that being said, I'm going to finish my cup of tea because I've got more coats of paint to put on, and yeah, I'll see you again soon, hopefully, aiming for at least one video a month. So we'll see how we go, and hopefully I'll see you again soon in December. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again soon.